Hi everyone, this is Ali Hussein Kassim from Ali Talks Tech. Still at the sidelines of Novacom, South Africa. With me this time round is Mzi. How are you, my brother?
I'm good, Ali. Thank you.
Great. I mean, we were just having some super interesting conversations just now, so let's continue that conversation. Tell me a bit about yourself and the company that you are working with, and then, we'll start our banter.
Yeah, look, so my name is Mzi Holmes. Got about 26 years experience in the telco sector. Today, I work for Ilitha Telecommunications. Okay. I'm a technical lead within Ilitha. I'm pretty much one of the founding members within Ilitha.
Okay.
What Ilitha does, it's really, look, what we saw in Ilitha, we saw an opportunity in South Africa, specifically in South Africa. So we have been involved in FTTH since the early, I think it was about 2012, okay. and at that time it was through the previous company that I've worked for.
So my audience is generally a mix of both tech-savvy and non-tech savvy.
Yeah.
So when you use acronyms, please explain them to some of my people. FTTH.
Yeah, so FTTH, obviously we're talking about fiber to the home. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is to get internet to the home. So some other people...
Bottom line, I want connectivity to my home.
That's it.
Whether you call it fiber, FTTH, or whatever else, I just want connectivity.
That's correct.
That's
all we did. We're bringing internet connectivity into people's home. But of course, I mean, as a South African, we've realized that, or rather as a group of South Africans that have been in the industry for a while, we actually realized that there are people within the country that are not serviced with this fiber. So
why is that?
There are many factors. First, it would be affordability. So remember, it costs a lot of money to actually put up the infrastructure.
That's correct.
We've seen it with the mobile networks. It's if you go to a suburb, you'll find out that a 1 square kilometer area will have 5 base stations.
Or 10.
And you would actually go to a township
yes.
That serves 30,000 homes, and it will actually have only 3 base stations. Okay. And I mean, if I go back, you would have seen back in the day, we always used to have this thing on New Year's Eve at 12 o'clock. All of us wanted to make phone calls to phone our loved ones.
That's correct.
And the network just would not work at the time. It's because it's congested, because everybody, all of those...
We are all calling at the same time.
At the same time. So, and that was because this market is predominantly a prepaid market. Okay. So you go lay out the investment, you actually don't know when you're going to...
Which market is this?
The township market.
The township market.
The township market. And that is the reason why...
Expound on that term township, because it's a peculiarly predominantly South African term. And we are talking to a Pan-African audience.
Yeah, so what you would find mostly in South Africa, because of the previous structure of the country.
Yes.
So what we have the suburbs, which were predominantly white because of apartheid, and then we have what we call the townships, which was mostly for the non-white.
Okay.
So and what happens is that post 1994, when everybody was allowed to stay or live everywhere else, most of the people that could afford then started moving to the suburbs.
Correct.
And what happens, you'll find out in main cities, if you're familiar with Johannesburg, and Cape Town right here, it's like in town, we started having flats where young people that actually now can afford to live.
Young upcoming professionals.
Yeah, they've moved to the flats. So what happened is that most of the people that were left in the townships were those that could not afford to live on that side. So, and that's exactly what happened. Is like the best infrastructure then got built to provide for those that can afford.
Townships were neglected.
Townships are neglected. So that happened within the telecom sector as well. I mean, we've been at building or providing broadband, fixed broadband. So by fixed broadband is we're talking about internet at your home.
Correct.
Internet that you don't share with anyone.
Yes.
And that started as early as 2012, 2013 in South Africa, but it was mostly, predominantly within the townships. I think 2018 we started seeing it happening within the actual townships, and now moving from the suburbs to the township. But the township as well, if you go to the townships, there are little suburbs within the township. So you'll find the government employees, teachers, so there will be certain suburbs where those people stay because they could afford the bonded homes.
Okay.
And so even when the infrastructure, Telecom's infrastructure went to the township, it covers those people first because they can afford contracts.
So whatever is then left goes to the townships.
Whatever is left goes to the township. And
So degraded service, mostly, would you say?
yeah, because I would say because you're trying to go to lower your cost to deploy, because you don't know how long it will take you to recover.
Yeah.
We do talk about prepaid in South Africa in general, and sometimes prepaid means that you pay me month to month.
Yes.
So you don't have to sign to commit to a 2-year contract. You pay me month to month. But if you can afford, you continue every day.
Yes.
So every month you pay. I mean, I've got a month-to-month service at my house, but I've had it for over 8 years. I've never changed it. You know.
As long as you get good service.
As long as you get good
and
service.
As long as it's affordable.
So, but real prepaid, if we go look at prepaid in terms of mobile, it's you buy airtime today, and you use it, and when it's finished, you buy another, and so on and so on.
So even if you finish it today and the day is not over and you have more money, then you buy more. That's the real prepaid.
That's the real prepaid.
So basically pay as you go.
It's pay as you go. So we then looked at, say, how do we take this expensive service, which requires huge capital, to build, and actually huge capital to make sure that you build a quality service. How do we bring this and make it work within the pay-as-you-go model? So of course, I mean, it's a big gamble, because I need to make sure that you're going to buy every day. And the only way I can make sure that you're going to buy every day is if I give you a good service. So we can't skimp on it. It's not something that we can take shortcuts. We had to build a service that almost have a 99.99% availability, and not knowing if people are going to buy it the next day.
So from best effort to
in the suburbs, internet or fixed internet, or what we call fixed broadband, is actually best effort. And I can tell you, I mean, if you go look at the contract I have, it's 48 working hours. So I can have a downtime on a Monday, and they can only fix it on Friday, and I can't complain.
You are preaching to the converted. I mean, I have the same in the house back in Nairobi, and it is best effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from best effort to...
So 99.99
99.9.
On paper.
Literally 99.
Literally. On paper, I deliver best effort.
Yes.
In reality, I deliver 99.99%.
Because if you don't do that, what happens?
People don't buy. So first, people don't buy the next day. Remember, if I don't have the money, I can use my pay-as-you-go R5.
Yes.
Instead of buying unlimited access for the day,
yes,
I can actually use it to do something else.
Absolutely.
Go buy bread,
Absolutely.
And that's what people do. Secondly, people always...
So you are competing with other essentials of life.
That's correct. Definitely.
The share of wallet is pay-as-you-go broadband from Mzi, or buy bread, or milk. That's the reality on the ground. The reality. As we love to call it in Nairobi, vitu kwa ground, or things on the ground, literally how things are.
That's the reality.
So how do you, as a business, how do you navigate that level of uncertainty day in, day out?
So first is that I myself am a product of the township.
Yes.
My partners are also products of
All the
Township,
townships.
so most of them.
That's
So
where you grew up.
that's where we grew up. So we know that people in the township need data.
Yes.
We know that. So I think that's the first thing. So we trusted that, and it was based on understanding the environment. I'm coming from there.
Correct.
And
But there's something a little bit more than commerce that's driving you, isn't it?
There is. So look, one, there's a heavy social aspect that sits with it. So it's where first we know that people. I mean, today you know that people suffer from service delivery and everything else.
Correct.
And we all know that this is those days where you take a CV to go look for work and you go knock and hand over your CV. Those days are gone.
Those days are
You
gone.
can't. So in order for people to even have a chance to learn, ever have a chance to apply for work,
To prosper.
they must be part of this internet community. So that's the first challenge.
That's very fundamental.
Be part of the internet community. So schools must be part of the internet community.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the first thing that we said. Let us bring the internet to the people. But one of the key things that we said is that we gotta be patient about making money. So this is not.
So how do you balance this deep social need and keeping the lights on, literally?
The challenging part, so of course, you have to find people or funders that actually also care a lot about also improving the lives of the people.
So patient capital.
Patient capital, that's the key thing. And when I talk about patient capital, it's like you're talking somebody that says, I'm willing to wait for 15 years before we get our money. So because the challenge
that's
is
rare. That's rare.
That's rare.
capital.
That it's very, very, very rare. And look, it took us quite a while, but we're there now. It took a couple of years to actually convince everybody else that this is the right thing to do. And the key thing as well about townships is that you need to understand that you can give a person a house that has nothing, but they're not going to sleep on the floor, but they don't have the money to buy the bed.
Absolutely.
Today.
Absolutely.
So you got to be patient, and you got to understand that cycle of people actually getting the devices to actually participate in the network. It's about 6 to 18 months.
Wow.
It's a fact. We've tested it.
Whoa.
It's about 6 to 18 months. And why is it 6 to 18 months? Number one is communities are sponsored communities. That's first one of the things. It's one of the kids work in the big city.
Correct.
And they happen to send money home for food. And when they come home for holidays, they're like, oh, wow, there's internet. Guess what? I can actually, next time I come around, I can bring a smart TV. Next time I come around, I can bring a smartphone, and I can phone my mother using video call. So it's that whole cycle. And people go home during the Easter holiday, during the December holiday.
Start seeing things are starting to happen.
And in some cases, those that are working have to wait for a bonus, because remember, their monthly income is already committed.
Completely.
They already have to accommodate your 5 rand a day.
Yes.
So it is already committed. So they have to wait for a bonus where they get extra money, because some of the people actually do not get credit. So they can't go buy this phone on credit.
They don't have credit because they don't have credit histories. They don't have the income to build a credit history.
It's a cash market.
It's a vicious market.
Yeah. So that's why it takes that long.
Interesting.
Those
are good insights on the ground.
Yeah. And look, so you live this every day. You have to live this every day. People get the devices. They don't know how to operate it from day one. You need to have people on the ground
to help
that
them,
actually go and help them. So by doing so, we're also creating jobs. We're actually not just creating jobs during construction. We have to create jobs continuously to educate people. So within that 18-month period, You know, there must be somebody teaching people. But I mean, we've seen it changing. So there's a particular area now where we're sitting at 95% of the people are recharging themselves, and only 5% is now needs help. So you can see the change because we can monitor these things.
So what's the infrastructure for recharging? Is it scratch cards?
We use vouchers. So you literally could go to what we call spaza shops, which is the spaza shops, and you can go. We've got a distributor that which is a common distributor called Flash, and they do vouchers, and so you can go buy a voucher. You can use your bank card. You can talk to our salespeople on the ground. So for every
you've covered this with different channel options.
Yeah, look, the idea was I need to be able to take your R5 in whatever form you give it to me.
I don't care. I just need the R5.
I need the
whether
R5.
It's mobile money, whether it's voucher, whether it's through your card. Put the money on the table.
I need the R5. So I have a habit of, when I visit the areas, I'll walk the streets and I'll always put on my Ilitha gear so people can recognize me. And, you know, there was a point where people would call me into their house and, look, I heard about this thing, and they say you can get it working for R5. I'll be like, yeah. They're like, yeah, here's R5, so make it work. So I ended up with a pocket full of coins.
No, really?
Yeah, because we're just taking the money because, I mean, and people were happy. They were getting the internet.
Whoa.
And that's really how it works. It's a word of mouth thing.
It's changing lives.
It is changing lives. It's that there are people that can't live without it today.
So how many townships are you covering now in South Africa?
So we started. I'll tell you now. So we've got about 3 that we are covering now. One is quite huge. It's got about 30,000 homes. Whoa. We've covered about 8,000.
And what's your market share in those 30,000?
So we've covered obviously about 8,000. We in that we I think about 10,000 has been taken. Okay. So we're going to do the other 12,000 in the first quarter of next year. So we're just going through the permitting process, and we're going to start doing that. And look. The funny thing, I'm sorry, I'm now moving away from it.
No,
was
please proceed.
I was in one of the areas where we're rolling out fiber. It's got about 5,000 homes. So we said we'll do the first 3,000 because of the density, and the other ones are not as dense as these ones. So we'll do them probably towards December. And somebody stopped and they said, look, this lady says, look, I need to talk to you. They said I must come talk to you, and I was like, what's wrong? He says, there's a job that is at stake here. I'm applying for a job, but they insist that I need to have internet at my house. Can you please make a plan for me today? So we always talk about people can earn using internet.
Yes.
And it's easy to say it. It's a very easy, you can earn, but you need to show me how.
Yes.
And when we get stories like people are about to get a job and this job depends on the internet, then you go give them the internet, you help, you do whatever you can to connect them. But that's where that 99% SLA comes in. Yes. If that person cannot work the next day because the internet is not there, they're gone.
They're gone. They look for some other service provider.
I've got an alternative of LTE at my house if my fiber is down. They don't have that alternative. So these are the dynamics that you are dealing with. So you start to understand that the impact that you have on the community, the positive or negative impact that you have, that you can have on the community.
That is profound. That is profound.
So so that's what we do. We look, ideally, we're targeting to connect about 500,000 people. Okay.
By when?
The target is within the next 5 years.
Within the next 5 years.
Within the next 5 years. It is a huge ask. It is a lot of work.
And where are you at right now? How many people?
No, we're still just below 20,000. We're raising funds.
You're raising funds.
We're raising funds. I think, as I say, we're there now. So there's a big drive.
That's the
so
patient
next
capital
year,
you're talking about.
yeah. So next year we have quite a big drive, over 100,000 that we, by December, that we should have connected. So there is a big drive. There is the change, and the key thing as well is now identifying those areas, you know.
So, you know, a couple of years ago, the United Nations talked about internet now becoming a human right.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
The problem with that statement is that it ends there. It's a very good policy. It's a good statement by the United Nations. But how are they implementing it? That's the issue. And listening to stories like yours, Mzi, it's giving me hope that there are people out there who are saying, you know what, we are not going to wait for any government. All we need is an enabling environment to ensure that everybody, no one is left behind when we're talking about internet revolution.
Yeah.
So, my brother, I wish you all the best.
But before you close,
Yes, sir.
I have to. So look, I just want to answer the United Nations story.
Correct.
So I wouldn't know if our government is driven by the United Nations story. But look,
Yes.
I think our Department of Communication have really turned the page on connecting
That's
the people
good.
in the township. So when we launched in 2022, I think
So you're just about 2 years old.
Yeah, the keynote speaker was the then Minister of Communication.
Yes.
And soon after they've launched a fund called the Broadband Access Fund. So
Yes.
basically, they would say, like, we need you to go connect there. We know it's not financially viable for you to go
Correct.
connect there, but we'll give you a certain subsidy so that you can connect there. And we're one of the participants there.
Brilliant.
And I mean, we've done way over, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 4,000 homes under
Yeah,
that.
we
under
have the same policy in Kenya. The USF, the Universal Service Fund.
Yeah.
And that comes from any tech company, telco tech company that is licensed under the Communications Authority of Kenya. 1% of their top line revenue goes to the Universal Service Fund.
Okay.
And that's used to drive connectivity to the sort of underserved or non-commercially viable areas of the country. So that's commendable.
Is there a timeline for it? It's evergreen. For as long as you participate, you'll give the 1%.
No. That's an annual.
Oh, okay.
It's an annual turnover, 1% annual turnover every
Okay.
year.
No, that's good. That's good. I think look, what we do need the governments to come to the party.
We do.
I think the key challenge that you have then becomes, and I don't want to go into all of these things.
Yes.
But remember, it's going into the townships and do the work. It's not all rosy. It also has
not.
its own challenges, and
Absolutely.
the challenges starts from you're dealing in an environment where people are hungry.
Yes.
They don't have jobs.
Yes.
So everybody wants to be employed the
Correct.
moment that they see that there's activity.
That's correct.
And you can't just put anything anywhere because it will get legs.
Yes.
So you have to deal with all of these dynamics and make sure you still provide the service.
And the fact that you're still at it 2 years later is commendable, Mzi.
No, we're here. Look, one of the things that we've seen, we talk about vandalism. One thing that I've learned on the ground is that people vandalize your network while it's not working, while you are building.
Yes.
The moment that they test the service,
And it's working, nobody will touch
the
it.
community
Yes.
becomes your security.
That's true.
It actually changes. Once the people understand the benefit of it, it changes
Nobody
everything.
touches it.
So
And if you do, somebody's on your case.
exactly. So you're always under pressure to, once you break ground, you're against the clock to switch on because because that's
Otherwise
when
it's
your
gone.
security kicks in. So which is a good, but it's a good thing. I think we yet. I think we're working on models of saying that how can we tell? Internet is internet.
Yes.
We're not providing internet for people to watch movies, and of course they have to watch movies, but we're hoping that it will create jobs.
Yes.
People will learn, and I think that's the part that we're looking at.
It's an important utility to life.
Exactly.
Just like electricity and water.
That's what it is.
Brother, thank you so much. It has been super great having this conversation. Let's keep talking.
Thanks, Ali.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.